Well, welcome back to you live from Paris. It's time now for business news with William Edwards. Hello, William.
Hi, Lorna.
So we're going to start off with one of the biggest issues that's facing the European economy at the moment, and that is unemployed young people.
That's right. All this week, in fact, we're going to be looking at the issue of youth unemployment around the Eurozone, which has particularly hit the periphery economies and those countries that have been bailed out. We're going to start in Spain, where youth unemployment has been particularly high at around 25%. When the property market collapsed, it took the prospects of millions of young people with it. Sarah Morris has this report from Madrid.
Vallecas on the outskirts of Madrid. At the job centre, no one has been able to help 28-year-old Manuel. He's unemployed and has found a one-month contract, but fears he'll lose his benefits for months if he takes it.
They told me to call a helpline. They've no idea here.
Like most young people in his neighbourhood, Manuel left school at 16 to work in construction, a business that was booming.
They used to hire you without needing any qualifications. They simply said, we pay such and such, and you started work.
Teenagers were earning more than €2,000 a month. But late 2007, the housing bubble burst. Today, a quarter of young Spaniards are like Manuel, so-called ninis, neither nors, neither workers nor students.
None of the options are what I need. I can't afford to lose the dole.
Manuel would love to get a professional qualification, but there are too few places on the free courses. For the moment, like his sister, he's still living with his mother.
Life isn't easy. At their age, they should have really left home, but oh well.
Manuel keeps on hunting for adverts at this community centre, for instance. Social workers here often hear the same story. Young people who left school young and are now long-term unemployed.
For the first few months, they feel like they're on holiday, but when that goes on for a long time and they don't find anything, they end up sort of depressed and they feel down.
For the last 5 years, governments here have tried to help the Nini generation. So far, in vain.
And as I was saying earlier, we'll be looking at the issue of youth unemployment around the Eurozone all this week. And this series comes in the run-up to a debate being hosted by Frans van Kat for the World Economic Forum in Davos next week. That's going to be asking how Europe's leaders can prevent a lost generation. And if you'd like to share your thoughts on that or your experiences of youth unemployment, you can use the Twitter hashtags F24Davos or WEF_youth.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to hearing people's experiences and comments on that. But we're going to turn now to the US because there have been a few days off from all that political wrangling that happened just before the new year over the fiscal cliff. But things are kicking off again there now.
They are. The big issue now is the raising of the debt ceiling. What that is, the US has an official limit to how much it can borrow. It needs Congress to give the go-ahead to borrow more. Now, it's already pledged to spend a lot more money in the coming months. So if it doesn't get this agreement from Congress, it will effectively default on its bills. So a pretty dangerous issue. Then, of course, there's the fight over the leftovers from the fiscal cliff deal. Of course, tax rises, I should say, were agreed, whereas spending cuts were put off until the end of next month. So already the rhetoric has actually started to ramp up over the debt ceiling. Ben Bernanke, the head of the Federal Reserve, has called on Congress to raise this ceiling, and President Obama has said he won't be held hostage by Republicans over this.
Republicans in Congress have two choices here. They can act responsibly and pay America's bills, or they can act irresponsibly and put America through another economic crisis. But they will not collect a ransom in exchange for not crashing the American economy.
So, William, how have the markets been taking all of that?
Well, actually, they've been taking those issues in their stride so far. But let's take a look at how the US markets closed, because they ended mixed at the end of Monday's session. And that's due in large part to Apple, of course, the largest share on the US markets. It was down 3.6% after the Wall Street Journal claimed it's cutting production as sales of the iPhone 5 are lower than expected. That brought the Nasdaq down 0.26%. Over in Asia at the moment, where things are still going, the Japanese market has bounced back after a few days off on holiday, reacting, of course, to currency news that the yen is at historic lows. 2.5 years, it's the lowest it's been against the dollar, That is good news for Japanese exporters.
Okay, well, we're going to move now to the UK because UK bankers and their infamous bonuses are in the headlines once again.
Yes, banker bashing is a British sport, or at least it has been since the start of the financial crisis, and Goldman Sachs are the ones in the target at the moment. British MPs have accused it of an opportunistic money grab by delaying the payment of bonuses for recent years. They're delaying these payments for bonuses, or they're thinking about it at least, because the top rate of tax is coming down in April from 50% to 45%. And the idea is that if they put off these bonus payments, then they can save, well, if you're making £1 million as a bank, if you get £1 million, then you can save £50,000 in tax. Opposition members have said that ultimately, though, the bank shouldn't really be blamed because it's the government, of course, which have lowered this tax rate. The bank can't be blamed for taking advantage of it. The company did a similar thing, actually, just hours before higher tax rates came in the US when that fiscal cliff deal came through on the New Year's Day.
Okay, very cunning indeed. But we're going to stay in the US or rather move to the US because the Detroit Motor Show is currently underway there, and it's certainly drawing in the crowds. Many people there are wondering what the future will bring for the car industry. There's been a lot of hype about one thing in particular, self-driving cars. And it turns out they're a lot closer to the showroom than you might think.
An unusual sight on a highway in Michigan. A driver who's not really driving. His hands off the wheel, he lets the car steer itself, avoiding traffic on either side.
I don't get stressed out. I don't get angry. I don't yell at the people next to me. I just simply relax and, don't have to worry about anything. The car handles the boring task right now.
About 90% of road accidents are related to human error, a statistic engineers hope will change with the new technology. This particular model isn't completely automatic, but allows the driver to retake control, say to turn off the highway or to park.
Grab the steering wheel, and now I drive. I have the full control of the vehicle.
Self-driving cars are currently allowed in 3 U.S. states, but are still illegal on most public roads. This semi-automatic system is expected to be up for sale by 2016.
Typical situation is rush hour, stop-and-go traffic. There is a first step where we believe that we can introduce this feature.
Most manufacturers are expected to begin selling fully or semi-automated vehicles in the coming years. A blind man is behind the steering wheel of this fully automatic model by Google, driving for the first time. Other car makers like Hyundai are expected to reveal their own plans at this week's auto show in Detroit.
Well, finally, William, we've heard about Lance Armstrong's performance-enhancing drugs. Apparently, we should be worried dogs might be doing the same thing.
Well, I'm not sure, but Nestle is launching a product for sporty dogs under its Purina brand. It apparently doesn't include doping drugs, such as Lance Armstrong is alleged to have used, but it is being marketed as performance-enhancing. Purina Pro Plan Sport will apparently have... will help sporty dogs. The idea is that those dogs who go for runs with their owners. I think it's one of the silliest things I've ever heard. But apparently, in the US this year, Purina is holding camps where owners can learn about sport for dogs.
It sounds great fun. I think I'd definitely be keen. Thank you very much indeed, William Edwards, for that look at today's business news. That's all from us for now. Do stay tuned. Stuart Norval will be here in a few moments with more headlines after the weather.